Why do so many millions of Muslims hate the USA? Joining us now from Portland, Oregon, Harris Safar, national spokesperson for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And here in the studio, Irshad Manji, author of the new book, Allah, Liberty, and Love. All right, Ms. Manji, if you had to point to one thing that makes some Muslims hate the USA, it would be?
Hypocrisy over democracy. While America, the government now, preaches democracy, it has propped up authoritarian leaders and also overthrown democratically elected ones.
Where do we overthrow? I know you're talking about Mubarak and Egypt as far as propping up, but where do we overthrow?
You know, a lot of Muslims are still very rankled by the overthrow of Mossadegh in Iran, which was a generation ago. But when you combine that with what kids are learning about America on university campuses, about what has happened with America in South America, the propping up of those dictators as well, you get this big bundle fomenting against the United States. And you know that I believe that that is a very ideologically lopsided narrative.
Okay, but it doesn't make any sense logically. Look,
we're not talking about logic. We're talking about emotion.
The Soviet Union, Germany, and Japan did awful, terrible things, correct?
Oh, my God.
Do I hate Russians?
Right.
Do I hate Germans?
Right.
Do I hate the Japanese?
No,
I don't.
I'm with you.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
All right? So that doesn't make that kind of sense where these people want to kill you and hurt you. What do you think it is, Mr. Zafar?
Well, it's an important question to ask, and I think the difference here is that what we've seen is that since the 1950s, as Irshad's been alluding to, since then there have been many crises in the Middle East which involve natural resources like oil, and we have sided with the status quo governments, the dictators and kings. And disregarding the people, the difference is we weren't affected as a people by the Russians. We disregarded the people who are being oppressed by those regimes, and people remember that. And the problem then becomes that the current leadership, whether it's religious or secular, they misuse that. They keep reminding people of that to rile up the masses against us. And then when isolated incidents happen like this childish yet provocative and vile film that came out, when things like that happen, they will use that as a ruse to rile up people against the United States.
Yeah, but nobody believes that a stupid film that nobody's seen causes people to assassinate ambassadors and to storm embassies and to try to kill people. I mean, that's just irrational. If Allah and the Prophet Muhammad, if they condone murder because of a stupid film, then you guys got a real problem inherent in your religion. But let me get back to you, Ms. Manji. Both you and Mr. Zafar are Americans, correct?
Well, I'm a Canadian citizen, but I live now and work in New York.
Okay.
I'm born and raised American.
There's a reason why you live in New York, and there's a reason why Mr. Zafar lives in Portland, Oregon, because this country is a free country, and we provide opportunity for 300 million people.
You got it.
Now,
absolutely,
we're not the devil. The Muslim Americans who live here, if they wanted to, they could go back to Saudi Arabia, wherever they wanted to go. They ain't going. They're staying. All right? So this is irrational. But it's irrational on the level of millions and millions of people. You would never have this in Great Britain, in France, even in Brazil. You would never have this kind of conduct. So then I go back to my original question. What is it about Islam that makes these people have such hatred?
Yeah. You know, Bill, I have been the hardest of anybody on my fellow Muslims. You know, I've written a book called The Trouble with Islam Today. This new book, Allah, Liberty, and Love, is all about young Muslims who are striving to reconcile faith and freedom. I never deny that there is a problem with the way we Muslims are practicing Islam. Having said all of that, I must tell you, I don't think what's going on in the Middle East and North Africa right now is about Islam. I think it's about so much beyond religion.
But they use their religion as an excuse
there you go.
to do it.
And what I'm taking so much strength from, despite all of the images of violence, we're also now seeing images of moderate Muslims, what you've been calling for, stepping up with signs, visibly making themselves targets.
In Libya, they can get away with it, but you couldn't get away with it in Egypt.
We love you, America. You've got to give them credit, though, Bill.
Absolutely, because they could be assainated.
But why do I have to push you to give them credit?
You don't have to push me.
It's all bad news
as far as you're concerned.
I'm
more interested in a culture, all right, that in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Iran, in Egypt, in Indonesia, in the Sudan. Mr. Zafar, come on. It's an out-of-control culture at this point. And I'll give you the last word, sir.
Absolutely, and the only thing I take contention with is to imply as any implication on Allah or the Prophet Muhammad. The fact that we've seen many examples in the life of the Prophet Muhammad in which he was blasphemed to his face and he didn't respond to that. If anything, he calmed his own people down from taking any vengeance. I think that's testament to the fact that Islam does not prescribe this.
Okay, but many of your clerics are not teaching that.
Not my clerics. The worldwide Khalifa of our Ahmadi Muslim community has been probably the most vocal.
But you know what
Muslim
I'm talking about. In the Wahhabi sects and all of that, they're not teaching that.
Which we are always quick to condemn and denounce, which we should be. All Muslims should be quick to denouncing such hatred and violence,
and they should,
which we
absolutely. I mean, because we have to stop this. This is crazy.